YouTube. Good morning, good morning. How are you this morning? Good. We're on September the 17th of 2018. It's day 260. Man, this year's going by fast. We're reading in Isaiah 25 through 28. And this morning as I read it, some extremely powerful scriptures. I specifically thought of my loved ones that are fighting cancer. I went last Friday and saw a cousin that's fighting cancer, and these scriptures specifically came to mind for me with her. But I know I have others, and I have other friends and loved ones. You guys have friends and loved ones that are fighting some kind of horrible disease. You have people who are just fighting to maintain peace in the midst of a storm. Things just aren't going well. And these words, I hope, will give you comfort. And I highly recommend that as you read today, if you're in one of those storms, that you make this personal for you or make it personal for them. Put their name in it, put your name in it as you read it. Because we're living in the middle of what this prophecy is about. Jesus died to give us peace in the middle of the storm. Jesus died to give us healing for our bodies. He died to give us salvation. And not any one of those is any greater than the other or any less than all the other. If you don't have peace, you can't feel your salvation. If you don't have healing, you don't feel your salvation. If you don't have salvation, you'll never believe you have healing. If you don't have salvation, then you won't have peace. So what he did is all encompassing, and it creates the opportunity for us to live heaven on earth. So with that, I just want to read a little bit because it's so powerful this morning. And I just pray that my words will bring comfort. That they're not my words, they're his words. As I read his words, that they'll bring comfort. And for those of you that aren't in the middle of a storm, I just pray that it'll just magnify your peace. It'll magnify your purpose and your mission about why you're doing what you're doing and why you're where you're at. Oh Lord, I will honor and praise your name, for you are my God. You do such wonderful things. You planned them long ago, and now you have accomplished them. We're living in that. It's been accomplished. You turn mighty cities into heaps of ruins. Cities with strong walls are turned to rubble. That's anything coming against us has been turned to rubble. Beautiful palaces in the distant lands disappear and will never be rebuilt. Therefore, strong nations will declare your glory. Ruthless nations will fear you. But you, O Lord, are a tower of refuge to the poor. See, any of us are poor that lacks peace. It does no amount of money in the entire universe can buy the peace that only God can give us, can buy the refuge that only he can provide. You are a tower of refuge to the poor, O Lord, a tower of refuge to the needy in distress. You are a refuge from the storm and a shelter from the heat. For the oppressive acts of ruthless people are like a storm beating against a wall, or like the relentless heat of the desert. See, I want you to just hear him speaking this to you. You've had somebody come out against you. You've had somebody say things about you, do things against you. You've got cancer beating at your door. You've got disease beating at your door. It's like the relentless heat of the desert. But you silence the roar of those oppressors, of those enemies. As the shade of a cloud cools relentless heat, so the boastful songs of ruthless people are stilled. The Lord of heaven's armies will spread a wonderful feast for all the people of the world. It will be a delicious banquet with clear, well-aged wine and choice meat. There he will remove the cloud of doom, the shadow of death that hangs over the earth. He will swallow up death forever. See, we don't have to fear death because we'll never die. We'll never die. The sovereign Lord will wipe away all your tears. He will remove forever all insults and mockery against his land and his people. The Lord has spoken. And it goes on. In that day, the people will proclaim, this is our God. See, that's what I'm proclaiming today. This is my God. This is my God. He's wiped away all my tears. He's taken away all my sickness, all my disease. This is the Lord in whom we trusted. Let us rejoice in the salvation he brings. For the Lord's hand of blessing will rest on me, and my enemies will be crushed. Good stuff. Then we move on into the Galatians chapter 3, and Paul is very specifically going through and teaching us the difference in the law and grace, the difference when we lived under law versus how we live our life today, and telling us and warning us not to get back into that works mentality. Don't get back thinking that, oh my goodness, I haven't done communion this month. Oh my goodness, I haven't said the prayer exactly the way I'm supposed to. Oh, my food will be cursed if I haven't blessed it before I eat it. Those are all religious things that we do that makes us fall right back under the law. And again, personalize that for you. Every one of us are guilty of this. Every one of us have slipped right back into, well, if only I'll be good enough. If only I'll pray enough. If only I will. If you live your life with the if onlys, then you know these words here today are for you. There is no if only. It really is truly just allowing him to be all that he is inside of us. Like Isaiah the prophet had to look externally and feel and sense and look externally for God. We don't have to do that because he lives on the inside of us. His spirit comes and lives on the inside of us. Now, when was the law given? Verse 19, it was given alongside the promise to show people their sins, but the law was designed to last only until the coming of the child who was promised. God gave his law through angels to Moses, who was the mediator between God and the people. Now, a mediator is helpful if more than one party must reach an agreement, but God, who is one, did not use a mediator when he gave his promise to Abraham. See, he's showing us that promise goes all the way back to Abraham. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's when you start understanding that we come from a place of salvation into it rather than from a place of sin into salvation. Big difference. God's already provided everything we need. We don't have to move into provision. We come from a place of provision. But if I don't believe it, it's not there. Is there a conflict then between God's law and God's promises? Absolutely not. If the law could give us new life, we could be made right with God by obeying it. But the scriptures declare that we are all prisoners of sin, so we receive God's promise of freedom only by believing in Jesus Christ. And I'll end with the Proverbs today, 23:17 and 18. Don't envy sinners, but always continue to fear the Lord. You will be rewarded for this. Your hope will not be disappointed. Don't envy sinners, but always continue to fear the Lord. And it's a reverential fear. It's not a fear that he's going to lash down from heaven. It's a reverential fear of who he is. The creator of everything you see. You look up at the sun, you look up at the stars. He created everything. How could you not have a reverential respect and honor and fear of our Creator? You will be rewarded for this. Your hope will not be disappointed. So you guys enjoy this magnificent Monday.